Hey folks, welcome back to Misty and Ike, a daily pop culture podcast, produced by Brickyard Media Group. And now here's your hosts, Misty Roberts and Isaac Heckert.
In my lungs. I've been smoking less though. Had the same pack for 2 days.
You want me to leave that in the episode?
Absolutely.
Welcome back.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back to Ike and the Smoker, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Oh boy, let me
Everything's fine.
Oh yeah, why don't you just? Oh, that's 2 episodes in a row that you just coughed it out on the mic.
That wasn't a real cough. I just made that noise.
Well, you know who else sounds like you?
Who?
This guy, Andre The Giant.
He does. He actually sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger too.
Anybody want a peanut?
And I mean it.
Anybody want a peanut?
It's his birthday.
Happy birthday, Andre The Giant.
Yeah, he's not with us any longer.
Nope, he was never with us either.
Well, he moved on to a better place in 1993.
He did.
And by a better place, I mean...
A heaven for giants.
Yes.
He went to the land of the large people.
He did. You know what? Let's start it off with exactly that. How large was he?
Okay.
I can tell you.
Okay.
Andre the Giant was
7'2".
7'4".
7'4".
He weighed 520 pounds.
That's nuts. Look at him kicking this dude's butt right here.
Right?
Boom. He's so much taller than everything.
He's just a giant.
Man, okay. How big was his mom? I'll look it up.
Oh, I don't know that. I can tell you one funny story that I know about Andre the Giant is that if he had a friend who came to his house that had like a small car, he would make a reason to go outside and say, I'll be right back. I have to go turn off the water sprinkler or whatever. And he would pick up their car and move it.
That's so funny.
Because he could literally pick up cars.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is, who is this?
Who's that?
This is, I don't know. I don't think it's his mom.
But she's a tiny, well, and the thing is, she's probably a normal sized woman, and she just looks like a tiny child person in that photo.
Okay. So here's what we're looking at. This is Andre holding someone who could be his mother, or it could be a love interest.
Could be. Look how tiny she looks.
Which does raise a question, which we don't want to spend too much time on. But was he able to entertain ladies? Or
your height and your weight really don't have a lot of bearing on the size of your appendage.
Got it. Well, I hope he was able to entertain.
I'm sure he probably was.
The love of his life.
I can tell you, if he wasn't, he did enjoy himself in plenty of other ways.
Okay.
When they filmed The Princess Bride, and he checked out of the London Hyatt, he had a bar tab of $40,000.
Whoa.
40,000, but he probably bought drinks for like everyone on the crew and whatever.
How many beers can he drink in one sitting?
I have the answer.
All right.
He once drank 156 beers.
Yeah. There's a documentary about him if you want to see it, guys.
Tell me about that.
Andre the Giant, and it talks about his whole life. It interviews everybody that interacted with him. It's super good. It's on HBO. If you have it, HBO, I can't recommend it enough. It tells all the tidbits and facts and
he was like, he was
stuff.
a very, like, everyone loved him. He was a gentle giant.
Yeah, he was a sweetheart.
Like everyone that ever interacted with him thought that he was just great. He was very good friends with Arnold Schwarzenegger and with Wilt Chamberlain.
That's funny because him and Arnold talk the same.
Because I think they're probably from the same part of the world, which I believe was Austria, right?
Get to the chopper.
It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor. That's funny. I wonder if they were ever in anything together.
Well, there's a funny little story about him going to dinner with Arnold and Wilt together. And when Andre the Giant wanted to pick up the tab, Arnold was like, no, absolutely not. And Wilt and Andre the Giant picked Arnold Schwarzenegger up and carried him out of the restaurant.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what's playing. Oh,
it's okay. It's a video.
It's a Hey Y'all Spring Picnic.
It's a Hey Y'all Spring Picnic Ziploc video.
What's going on, mental floss?
Well, they gotta pay. They gotta pay for things somehow with advertisements.
No, our advertisers will get pissed. Anyway, sorry about that.
Well, to ping pong off that 156 beers, That's actually, for a minute, he was a world champion beer drinker. He held the unofficial title for the most beers consumed in a single sitting.
Wow, that's nuts. Do you want to see a picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Andre the Giant?
I do.
Look at this. Look how tiny Arnold looks. I don't know who
And
the
that's
other
Wilt
guy is.
Chamberlain on the other side.
Is it really? Because
Yeah.
that guy's taller than...
Wilt the Stilt?
He's taller than Andre the Giant?
Wilt the Stilt is his nickname.
He's 7'5"?
A stilt is something
How
ridiculously
was
tall.
Wilt?
Also, the 7'1".
7'1".
Also, the 70s could have been wearing platforms on his shoes.
Oh.
Don't forget that.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know? Okay, so by age 12, Andre the Giant was already 6 feet tall and weighed 200 pounds.
By how old?
12.
Can you imagine?
No,
You're like,
I can't.
Hey, would you like to have a child with me? Yes, that would be pleasurable experience. But we're very poor. We don't know if we can afford it. It's okay. Kids don't eat much. And then out comes Andre the Giant. It's like, I need another manufacturing facility of cereal.
He could eat 12 steaks at a time.
Oh my God, that sounds delicious.
12 steaks. And like, just comfortably.
Yeah.
Not even like, oh, I'm doing this to see how many steaks I can eat. Just like, no, I'm still hungry. Get me another one.
He had to be a celebrity to be able to afford just to be a giant.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you just worked with him at like Office Depot?
It would be amazing.
Andre, we need you to stock the shelves again. It's like, is that because I'm so tall? Yeah, that's exactly why we hired you.
That would be incredible. So here's a weird fact that factors into that a little bit.
Yeah.
His fingers were so big that he couldn't dial a rotary phone. He had to use a pencil because his fingers would cover all the buttons.
Yeah.
So like he wouldn't be able to stock shelves with tiny things. He could only stock big things because he wouldn't be able to place the little things.
Yeah.
Because his hands were too big.
It says here he grew up in France.
All right. That's weird.
Yeah, it's not anywhere close to Austria, but
No.
that's cool. He left home at 14 to seek employment and opportunities outside the boundaries of his rural farm community in France. At 19, he visited his parents for the first time, having already broken into the professional wrestling business.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's nuts.
So when we decided that maybe we should talk about him, we talked about how we really hadn't talked about wrestlers. And so there's two other wrestlers that pop out in my head, Hulk Hogan and Randy Macho Man Savage.
Okay, if we're going down this rabbit hole.
Oh, no. It's still just Andre the Giant.
Okay.
Andre the Giant hated to wrestle Macho Man because he slathered so much baby oil on. And he couldn't pick him up properly and do the stunts that they were supposed to do.
Randy
He was too slippery.
For those non-wrestling folks at home, Randy Savage had a weird voice.
Snap into a Slim Jim. Wasn't that him?
Yeah, it was one of them. Yeah,
I think so.
Here's the Macho Man, right? Randy Savage. I'm not doing his voice justice at all whatsoever.
Huh. He's an interesting looking fella.
Yeah, that is interesting. Here's another fact about. Here's just a fun picture.
He's so cute. Look how happy he looks.
I would be happy too if I had 4 babes on my
Right?
shoulder.
And he's holding them all up, all 4 of them at the same time.
But read the headline. If you're just listening,
he had fun farting.
he had fun farting on his opponents.
Oh, man. Well, did you know he is the reason that the WWE Hall of Fame exists? It was created after he passed away so that there was something to honor him. He was the first and only entry at the time.
Oh, here's something I didn't know. He lived in North Carolina.
Well, tell me about that.
I'm reading this, learning as we on the fly. He loved QVC, which is super funny. When he wasn't traveling for his wrestling engagements, Andre largely kept to himself in his North Carolina ranch home, which featured a tree growing through the middle of each of its 3 stories.
Like him. It represents
So one tree growing through the whole house.
Yeah.
At first I read that as like 3 trees. Because shopping could be a cumbersome experience, Andre grew fond of QVC, the home shopping channel that launched in 1986. His friends recalled that Andre bought several steam cleaners and lots of porcelain butterflies from the channel.
What a unique little big weirdo.
Yeah. Oh, you know how we were talking about drinking earlier?
Yeah.
More reading, folks. Relatively speaking, he was not an excessive drinker because I guess compared to his weight.
Right, which makes sense. I mean,
nothing pours fuel on an Andre story quite like alcohol, with the Giant allegedly consuming over 100 beers in a single sitting. But most of his colleagues report that alcohol had surprisingly little effect on him, with no hangovers or slurred speech affecting his wrestling duties. There were only a handful of exceptions, according to Carrie
Yules.
Yep, the co-star of the 1987 film and also known for the best film of all time, The Princess Bride. Andre once drank enough to pass out in a hotel lobby. Since it was impossible to move him, hotel employees arranged a velvet rope around his slumbering frame so he wouldn't be disturbed.
That's like the time I got so drunk and thought I was going to miss lobby call that I just wrapped myself in the comforter and slept in the lobby on the floor.
I don't know if that's exactly like it.
It's pretty close.
It's pretty close. Did you drink 100 beers? You probably drank 100 beers.
I think I drank a whole bottle of Jameson and smoked a lot of things. Anyways,
okay.
Here's what's funny. So there are all these stories about him getting drunk, but everyone's saying it didn't really affect him that much.
Yep.
So maybe he just really liked pranks because there's a lot of stories about shit he did when he was drunk.
Yeah.
So there is a story about him and the wrestler Dusty Rhodes getting drunk in a bar in New York City.
Okay.
And they stole a pair of horse-drawn carriages and raced them. Each one of them stole one, and they raced them through New York City.
Oh wow!
So maybe
here's
he just,
Dusty Rhodes himself.
Really was just loved being fun and just getting away with shit.
I want to get so famous we can steal a pair of horse-drawn carriages
and not get in a lot of trouble.
New York, and then have the big Misty and Ike. You guys are just such pranksters. I bet Andre was so big that he could just take whatever he wants from you, and what are you gonna do about it? Handcuffs aren't gonna fit him.
What cop is gonna be like?
Yeah.
Hold on, Dusty Rhodes and Andre the Giant.
And
those are both big men.
Yeah, I think a cop would rather get a
autograph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: if he was still alive today, I think he should play Bane in the Batman series.
That would be so.
There's nobody like him right now. That would be awesome for him to play Bane.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And
he also would have been a great Avengers Endgame Thanos. He would have been a killer Thanos.
A real life Thanos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about this though. He could have been, if he chose to, be a real life supervillain.
He could have, he just chose to not.
Yeah, he chose to kick
love
ass.
life. Yeah.
And be a happy guy.
And have fun, and
kind of like us.
Yeah.
We're just a couple of Andre the Giants.
We really are, except I'm not 7'4".
Whoa. There's still time.
I could grow to 7'4".
She's growing, folks.
It's true. I'm much taller.
If caffeine made you grow taller.
Oh, yeah. I would be 7'4" instantly.
100%.
I don't even want to talk about how much of this I've had today.
Yeah. What should we do to honor Andre on his birthday? Should we have a beer? Or 100?
I think that we might have to wait until Friday. Because a beer would be really good with something that's happening that day. Miami Pete, our friend.
Oh, hey, Peter. No. Special episode on Friday.
Yeah.
Yep. We got a lot of fun episodes coming up, especially
really
next week. We've got a lot of good stuff going on,
too.
Yeah.
When did he stop wrestling?
Oh, I don't know. I thought this episode was over. And here we are.
I'm not done with him.
We're not done with you, Andre.
I feel like I could sit here and learn things about this person forever because he just, I don't know. I feel like it makes me happy inside hearing about him.
When did the Andre the Giant stop wrestling? 1990. Aww. With his wealth, the Giant bought a ranch in Ellerbe, North Carolina. Never even heard of it. I'm from North Carolina.
That's
I've never
weird.
heard of it. Where he would live during his rare time off and after he retired from wrestling in 1990. He died while in France after attending his father's funeral. That's sad. Oh. Well, that's another thing.
And it was only a few years after he retired.
When he flew, do you think he had to buy 2 first-class seats?
I'm pretty sure he may have gone ahead and flown private just for comfort.
Maybe. But do you think he had that kind of money? Oh, let's look at his net worth.
Yeah, I bet he did. This is really interesting to me. His dad was friends with playwright and novelist Samuel Beckett, who Samuel Beckett, I believe, is Waiting for Godot. the man that wrote Wedding for Godot.
He could definitely fly private. He had $10 million.
Oh, okay.
$10 million in.
Well, and a lot of times private flights are factored into contracts with things.
Yeah.
So someone else is footing the bill.
But not your father's funeral.
No, but I mean.
But you could make a promo appearance while you're in France. Make a couple bucks.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
He was only 46.
That makes me really sad. What did he pass from? What
Being
was
huge.
it? I mean, I know that, but like, oh my gosh, when he was cremated, his ashes weighed 17 pounds.
That's insane. Have you ever felt a box of ashes?
Yeah,
It's like
I have.
This big. It's like maybe a pound.
17 pounds.
Wow. That's a lot. Should we talk about the bathtub thing or just leave it alone?
I think we leave that out.
You know what? Watch the HBO documentary and you'll learn some things that we're not going to talk about here on this show. We're going to keep it classy.
Yeah.
But you know what? You should
still
watch that.
doesn't muddy my opinion of it.
No, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It makes perfect
yeah.
sense.
I still think that he's, like I said, a gentle giant.
Yeah.
And I wish that I could have met Andre the Giant one time.
You know what though? Here's the thing. We were alive when he was alive.
Sometimes, isn't it weird when you think about that?
Yeah.
When you think about all the amazing people that you got to live in this. Like, I think about that with like Prince and David Bowie.
Mm-hmm.
I got to live in the same time that they did.
Yeah.
Like, I got to know what they did.
I like to think that when we
So cool.
when we move to another plane, whatever you want to call that, I like to think that there's going to be some kind of map, and you can be like, "How close did I ever get to David Bowie?" And you'd be like, "Well, one time you were at the mall, and he was at the mall, and you didn't even know it." You know, like,
and
or
you'll be like, "We intersected."
yeah, or like one time when you lived in LA, he was like the car behind you. You didn't know that. It's
Right.
Like, I want to know all that stuff.
Yeah.
In my next life.
That's really cool.
Yeah, because what if Andre? I know
Like really cool.
Andre toured through North Carolina.
Of course he did. He lived there.
Right.
Like you guys probably like drove next to each other on the highway.
I mean, I would have remembered seeing him because he's such a big dude. But like, what if I just passed him, or what if he was in an arena that I
What
drove
if you
by?
just didn't turn your head at the exact moment?
Yeah.
You know, there was no glitch in the matrix that made it happen that you would notice.
Isaac sorting out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, cool.
Right.
That's Andre the Giant, folks. Watch the documentary on HBO. And
Called Andre the Giant.
yeah, I think every
Very creative name.
also every couple hundred episodes we have to remind you to like and subscribe to our show. Tell a friend. Help us grow. Send us an email at mistyandikeruintheinternet@gmail.com.
Uh-huh.
And
Don't you dare give out my phone number again.
Okay. I knew all of my friends' phone numbers by heart in my head in the 90s. I couldn't tell you what my phone number is right now.
I know that yours starts with
919 because it's from North Carolina.
I was going to say 818.
Wow. This is my best friend right here, guys.
Mine's
Very-
913
This
from
is
Kansas.
my very best friend from Kansas.
But you're on my favorites list.
I had to look up my mom's number yesterday.
I still have to look at my mom's number every
Yeah.
day, every time I call her.
Yeah. Well, we got to get out of here, folks. That was episode 213.
Yeah. I had to think about that.
Yeah. Well, now that we're in the 200s, we're all fancy. We can't
Don't you make me
remember anymore.
math.
Math. I thought you said
Math.
mad.
No, don't
Mad
you make
with-
me math.
I thought it was mad with a lisp. Math.
That's Lisbeth.
Lisbeth. Okay, so just so we don't waste all this money, here's a shot of Misty. Here's a shot of myself. Now we use the switcher and all three cameras on this episode. Thank you for listening and watching. Please rate, like, and subscribe. And since it's not Friday,
We'll see you tomorrow.
my buttholes.